Space Hamster Blues.
I was on my way to Toro when I crashed and was shrunken down. Now I'm stuck here wandering with this loud and rowdy clown. But kicking for goodness, I hear him shout from town to town. Here we are in Baldur's Gate, fighting monsters and bell spawn. He said something about magic and swords for everyone. But kicking for goodness, oh my goodness, not again. He says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, but it sure looks like the blues to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, 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 yeah. The rain and mud on my face. Life was simpler out in space. Crossing stars in the astral sea. Whatever happened to me? Kicking down doors, blood on the floors, endless heroic killing spree. Says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, and it sure looks like a bruise to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, yeah, almost dead and it's thrill. My best friend trying to get us killed. The bigger they are, the harder he hits. Even demons and devils run back to their pits. The safety of numbers and we're with these 5 or 6. Yeah. Oh. Now we're heroes and legends, fighting evil with my crew. Beholders and dragons and goblins and kobolds, may our swords strike ever true. Where goes the stench of evil, so goes the cleansing wind of Minskin Bull. So now we go for the eye. Yeah, we go for the eye. How about we go for the eye? Yeah, we go for the eye. Oh, how time flies when you're going for the eye.
It's pretty great. Holy crap. It's amazing.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another Saturday morning. If you're watching this live and in roughly my time zone, I guess. Somewhere else, it might be something else. Hey, it's Gaarawarr. Here with another guide, this time on Acquisitions Incorporated. If you don't know who Ac Inc. is, I mean, that's fair. Maybe you're not into Dungeons and Dragons. But, you know, the acquisition... Fun fact. Acquisitions Incorporated. First D&D game I ever watched played. Yeah. That was like way back in, I want to say 2010, at PAX Prime, it was called back then. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good morning to all the folks already in chat. Thank you for coming to hang out this morning. So we're going to go over not just the 3 members currently in the game of Acquisitions Incorporated, but we're also going to have the A team, or the main team, however they like to refer to themselves. But also the 4 members of the C team. Yeah. So let's hop into... I'm going to have to turn... Oh, I forgot to turn my Modron stuff off. Watch this. Hold on. Will it let me? Yeah. Bam. No loading of formation. All right. Let's get in and do the dang thing. For those who haven't been to one of these Saturday shows before, hey, look, I'm live. We have Jay in chat on the C&E Games account. They are pulling any questions you might have. I will answer the questions in the second half of the show. So the first hour is going to be me just kind of deep diving into each of these characters and talking about them. If you have questions, you can fire them away as they come up, so you don't forget. Jay will grab them, throw them into a little the text document storage over here for me, so that I can see them. And then in the second half of the show, after a little short break with a musical interlude, I will come back and answer all the questions. All of them, even if they're not related to today's topic. Yeah. All right. Yes, I'm seeing people are... At least one person understands the significance of today's code. Thank you. I see you. You are seen. All right, let's start off. You know what? We're gonna do this just in kind of in slot order here. Well, no. Let's start with the main man. Let's start with Omendron. Why not? Let's go with the man, the myth, the legend. Potentially a clone. I don't know which version we got, guys. Omendron. So Omendron, slot 3. Slot 3. That's a swap with Niali and all of these other fine folks. So right away, appropriate intervention. Omen smashes the nearest enemy with his maul. Yeah, that fits. Omen is a half-elf cleric. He is specifically support with gold find. Duh. Right? I think anybody who's seen Acquisitions Incorporated, I mean, they could have just made him a gold find champion, and I think that would have been entirely appropriate. Entirely appropriate. As you see, currently, the current members of Acquisitions Inc. specifically, Jim, Morgaine, and Omen, so we'll talk about all 3 of those. Because he's support gold, he has the usual accoutrement. We've got some damage all champions. We've got an ability buff. This is specifically the Shadow Council. Another one, Champions of Timora. Contractual Obligations, because of course Omen has contracts in this game. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. So right off the bat, Shadow Council increases the damage of adjacent champions by a bunch. So again, this is default. Omen wants to be surrounded by friends so that they can just, you know, buff everybody around them. That means, like, in this type of formation, you would think you would want to put him somewhere where there's lots of adjacencies. This can change, though, and we'll talk about that. Champion of Timora. Every time Omen attacks, they bless all adjacent champions as Champions of Timora, increasing their damage for a short period of time, just 3 seconds. So this has some, you know, extra pizzazz on it. Let me pull up. This is one of those situations where I think we've run into this a few times on this stream. In-game text, not always as wordy as we would like it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my actual guide for them, so I can give you the full information, because it's not there. So this is why we write guides, folks. This is This is why we do this stuff on the internet, so that you can learn some things that maybe just by in-game you're not gonna know. So again, I said Champions of Timora. Whenever he attacks, he recruits all adjacent champions to be Champions of Timora for 3 seconds, increasing their damage. But here's the part that's not there. Champions of Timora, along with having their damage increased, cause any other champions adjacent to them to become a Champion of Timora when they attack. The 3-second duration is reset if they are granted this ability again before it expires. So Champion of Timora spreads. It's in a good way. It's infectious in a good way, like laughter. That's the way we want to think about it. So you can effectively spread Champion of Timora throughout your formation and have it on everyone. Again, it's just increasing damage. So really, you just want to make sure it hits your primary DPS. And again, there's ways to make that primary DPS potentially not adjacent. So we'll get into that. Okay, so contractual obligations, because whenever you're dealing with Omen drawn, there is a contract involved. Yeah, it's best to retain a lawyer prior to signing anything Omen gives you or offering up your blood. Those are bad things. Every time a champion in the column in front of Omen attacks, they fulfill an obligation to Omen. When Omen reaches 100 obligations fulfilled, he grants a gold fine buff for each champion in the column in front of him for 30 seconds. This is kind of the big deal. We've talked before on Gaarawarr's Guides about Azaka farming. Still a thing, folks. Still a thing. And this is a big deal. You want Omen in your formation now for this and you want to watch. This makes the Azaka farming a lot more manual. You can't just set it and forget it. But having Omen in, when he hits that gold fine buff, it kind of blows up. And again, it's going to be multiplied by an item and other things, other shenanigans. And yeah, for that 30 seconds, Omen makes it rain right there with Azaka. All right, now up to the specialization. This is where I said things can, there's some shenanigans. Close allies here in the middle is basically, this is all buffing the Shadow Council buff that we talked about that buffs people adjacent to him. Well, close allies obviously is going to keep it that way. It keeps it adjacent. And it increases it by 100% for each champion of Timora in the formation. So again, this is why Champion of Timora spreading infectiously like laughter throughout the formation is a good thing, because that's how you buff this, right? And that's a pretty solid way to do it. 100%. Long lost friends. Shadow Council now applies to champions not adjacent. So anyone who's not adjacent to Omen, but only gets increased by 85% for each champion of Timora. And this is kind of not the greatest. Assassin. Shadow Council now applies to champions farthest from Omen and is increased by 125% for each champion of Timora in the formation. If you can pull this off, this can be difficult. But there's another Akink member who likes this type of gameplay scenario too. So if you can learn how to do this, this is obviously the biggest buff. And obviously building a formation so that Champion of Timora spreads infectiously like laughter. I'm going to keep saying it that way. Then this is the big deal. I'm just going to go close allies because we're in a Mad Wizard scenario. So, well, I don't have enough gold yet to level all the way up. Oh yeah, I guess I'm only on level 21. I've been spoiled lately with my speed runs. They level up real fast. Known associates. The duration of Champion of Timora is doubled on champions with the AC Incorporated and or C-Team affiliation. It's kind of like they were meant to be together. How sweet. So yeah, this helps if you're using multiple members of AC Inc., including the C-Team. I see that, Counting Coup. This helps a lot. because obviously you want this to spread, so this helps things spread and stay active on as many people as possible, giving you the most damage possible. And that's all, folks. You get lots of different buffs and upgrades to those abilities over time. If you want to see, earlier, you were probably asking, but Gaarawarr, how do you know if you've fulfilled your obligations? Rumor has it there's a visual, but rumor also has it that it breaks if there's speed effects going on. So the only way that I ever track it is by opening up this UI, going to the formations buffs, and going to contractual obligations. It will tick up. Obligations fulfilled will go up as you do this. And it will let you know when it hits it, and then there will be a countdown timer for the 30 seconds. Yeah. Works pretty well. You can also watch, obviously, the other things tick up as you like. And again, as a support gold find champion, the usual types of feat. Increased damage of all champions. Obviously, there's some increased gold find. And then there's a specific Shadow Council contractual obligations stuff. Obviously, if you're going for gold find, Rules Lawyer and Lucky, those are the ones you want. If you're doing the buffage, then and Shadow Council and Inspiring Leader. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Ultimate Spirit Guardians, Cleric. Omen summons 15 Spirit Guardians, which explode every 2 seconds, damaging all monsters in a large area. The duration of Champion of Timora is doubled as long as a spirit remains. So this is basically ramp up your damage because of that whole Champion of Timora doubling. If you weren't getting it everywhere because it was falling off, this is going to ramp up some consistent damage to help keep your bud up, and then it's just going to go boom all over the place. So let us take these broken wings. No. Let us take the familiars off the field. Potentially get some potentially get some enemies out here. And we'll go boom boom with the Spirit Guardians. Give me like an actual wave. Why am I getting one at a time? Can I get a wave spawn that's multiple? There we go. Hi. Now, as they blow up, there, you see things just kind of die. Boom, boom. They will blow up if nothing's on the screen, and they blow up wherever they are. As you see, they'll pop in different areas. And they're only going to do damage around them when they pop. So, you know, die. Get that crow. There he is. All right. It's like, man, I need a light gun. CNE, can we get light gun enabled distraction shooting? That'd be great. Thanks. All right. So we will continue. I will put the familiars back up. There we go. Actually, you know what? Hold on. We've got some new ones that deserve to be out on the field. Let's get them out. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and you know, Pirate Iris. Yeah. Triavor. Oops, wrong button. There we go. That'll work. Well, maybe a couple more. Maybe a snowy owlbear. Sure. Yeah, that's good. All right. So Omen drawn. Next up. I mean, I guess we just go, if we're starting with Omen, right? We need to just go straight into Jim. This is the Green Flame Jim Dark Magic skin. He has multiple skins though. Look at Rockstar Jim Dark Magic. Pretty neat. The original grape flavor. You know, for those who want to go old school. I'm gonna stick with the Green Flame Jim though, because of course, Green Flame. Jim's Magic Missile. Base attack. Jim attacks random enemies with his own brand of magic missiles because, you know, he doesn't do that off-brand stuff. So let's bring him into the formation. I'm going to make an adjustment here to Omen because we did say, hey, he wants, again, Contractual Obligations wants to have lots of people in the column in front of him. So ideally, Omen would actually be back here. And if we were going to use Jim as DPS, I don't know that that's going to be what we're doing, but we're going to do that. Here you go. You can see him firing off pew pew, a pair of magic missiles every time, one from each hand. Boom boom. Like a gunslinger in the Wild West. So Jim is a DPS support. He is a human wizard. At least that's what he tells people he is. So he gets his increases zone damage, obviously, because they're like, hey, DPS. They kind of need that. But then you get Jim's Fan Club. You get magic. Ultimate attack and ultimate cooldown. Jim's interesting. Jim's been used for shenanigans. I believe pretty much since he came out. Jim gets used for shenanigans more than he necessarily gets used for actual DPS or support. But things can always change. Things can always change. Magic. Increases damage of all champions whose base attacks are magic by 50% for each champion in the formation. For each such champion in the formation. Words are important. So, Jim likes magic base attack champions. There's someone else that likes magic base attack champions. Olcoria? Yeah, so there's a synergy there. If you want to get into that. But yeah, so that can be a nice thing to do. Wand of Wonder. Wand of Wonder. Whoever gave this to Jim, man, that was maybe not the smartest idea. So every 5 attacks, Jim uses their Wand of Wonder. It provides one of 4 random effects. The wand can slow its target for 15 seconds. Stun its target for 5 seconds. Or transmogrify its target into an abyssal chicken with very little health. Shenanigans. Or an armored mimic that drops more gold. Shenanigans. Note, transmogrification cannot affect bosses or special creatures. Better a Wand of Wonder than a deck of many things. That's true. I don't want to see what happens when a champion comes into this game that has a deck of many things that is an ability. Nope, don't want to see it. So, every now and then, Jim's going to fire off his Wand of Wonder. Now, we saw the animation. See those 2 magic missiles? The Wand of Wonder has its own unique animation. It shoots out as a single kind of multicolor effect. So, give it a second. There's magic missiles. That was an attempt at magic missiles. Again, we're killing things probably a little too quickly. Let me remove. I don't want to remove. The familiars are too cute to remove. Come on. Do the thing, Jim. More magic missiles. Should be next. Yeah, there it goes. It's just got a rainbow effect. So, again, if it turns it into an abyssal chicken, the abyssal chicken has, like, next to no health and it's going to just disappear. If it turns into an armored mimic, it has, like, 5 armor segments. Well, it used to be a chunky boy. It's, decently difficult to kill, because of the armored segments. Also, that mimic drops 10 times more gold than a normal creature. So it's a nice 10x bonus. We have used Jim for shenanigans because of this for a long time. One of the things was Azaka farming. You would change an enemy into a mimic and then kill everything else, because having those armored segments made it harder to kill the mimic, so the mimic would be left over, and it drops more gold. Fantastic, right? A little harder to do nowadays for reasons to get the mimic to stay around, but it's still potential shenanigans. Also, people who would find themselves pushing deep but killing everything but one enemy on like a boss level. Killing the boss and 9 of the other trash mobs, but not one of the regular mobs, and then not being able to kill it because various reasons, like crawl or just ramping damage that then went away. You could gem it. You could gem it. That was just kind of what you called it. Just gem it. Because eventually, it's going to transmogrify into that Abyssal Chicken. It can even go into the Mimic and then into the Abyssal Chicken. So even if you get a Mimic, you know, don't panic. Grab a towel, wait a little longer, and it'll turn into an Abyssal Chicken. And it'll go away. Nowadays, it's that chicken. Oh boy, is that chicken that causes shenanigans. Yeah. So, back we go. Wand of Wonder. Fan Club. Increase Jim's damage by 50% for each champion in the column in front of and behind them. Because fans. So, yeah, we're kind of where we would want to be. Because anywhere I put them, if I put them here, if I put them here, I'm going to get 4. Because it's 3 and 1, or it's 2 and 2, or it's 3 and 1 again. So I'm just going to leave them here. But keep that in mind when placing Jim. He wants columns in front and behind that have lots of people in them. So there are going to be some formation layouts that are situationally better for Jim than others. So he's not necessarily somebody you're going to use all the time. You know, some places he's really going to shine. And that's really, those are kind of some of the best champions, in my opinion. The best designed champions. So Dark Magic Cheer Squad versus, is there an echo in here? So Jim's Fan Club ability by 200% is basically this one. So again, this is, you know, more of the DPS bonus. If you can place him and get that Fan Club. Whereas Magic is going to be kind of like that support type ability. You know, if you're using him as a support, you're going to want to go, is there an echo in here? Yeah. So we're going to use him as DPS today, though. All right. Oh, hey. Soft cap. All right. In the 50s. That's respectable. Favor. Anything else? Yeah, I didn't think there was anything else. Jim's fairly straightforward. All the shenanigans really come from his Wand of Wonder. Are we still doing phrasing? You can track stacks of things over here. So if you're making adjustments, you can see just how they're going to fly in the formation buff screen. So they do have lots of information for you here. Make sure that if you want to see this kind of stuff, even though it doesn't always have it, make sure you down here in effect description in the settings, you have it at advanced. Otherwise, you may get limited effects. For feats, it's going to be the same type of stuff. Straight up damages for him, some all champs damage because he's also a support. And then they do have currently a magic one. They don't have a fan club one. So, I don't know. Maybe when they at some point update the feat system, maybe we'll get some more stuff for him. Jim's Magical Maelstrom is his ultimate. Jim attacks all enemies with a showy shower of sparks. You can't miss it. Yeah, it's... I mean, I guess you can. Hold on. Let's turn on... Let's go back to the settings. I'm going to turn the effects up. Particle amount. High. Oh, there we go. Do I want flashing and lighting effects? We'll see. We'll see. All right. Boom. Bam! Look at it all. It's like fireworks. And then at the end, Jim in smoke. So good. So good. All right. That's Omen and Jim. Time for more gain. Not less gain. More gain. We're going to have to move our formation around a little more. With more gain in here. So more gains, High Elf Ranger. Support gold. The gold tag here is used ironically. We'll talk about that. Rapid Shot. Morgaine shoots an arrow at a random target, then quickly follows up with a second arrow. As you do. Because she's a professional. Probably the only professional in Ak Inc, if I'm being honest. Increase the damage of all champions. This is the support, right? Then they get paid up front, which we'll talk about in a moment. Friends in Wealth, which makes you think it's a gold find thing. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Morgaine's neat. Morgaine is the most in my opinion, the most flexible support champion in the game. Because regardless of the formation layout, you can find a place to fit them in. Some are going to be better than others, but their specialization choices allow you to fine-tune them to the situation you find yourself in. So highly adaptable, as professionals are. Double tap. If Morgane's first arrow kills her target, the second arrow causes the enemy to drop a second set of gold. This is what would make you think, hey, gold champion, right? But they're not the DPS. This would be great if Morgane was the DPS, but they're not. So it's interesting early on when Morgane's still killing things, but I mean at that point, do you really need the extra gold? I don't know. Debatable. Paid up front. More. This is the forever and ever and always ability. So much like Zorbu and Black Viper and Torrigar, Morgane has a continuous stacking buff. It's paid up front. Morgane collects 25% of all gold dropped by enemies. Keep this in mind, because this means she's taking your monies. But in turn, increases the damage of adjacent champions by a decent amount, depending on gear. Increased by increased by 5% for each order of magnitude gold that Morgane has collected, stacking additively. The collected gold count persists through resets. So right now, I have a total gold collected, which this needs to be higher. 2.63 E176, which gives me an 880% bonus. So basically, Morgane is ramping up your damage based off the amount over time that you've paid her. The more you pay her, the more she's going to give you. But it is additive, so it is going to be like a slow count. And it is based, when they say order of magnitude, it is that E01. They're using the E's. Scientific notation, people. So, you know, you want to kind of put her in. You can use her, obviously, in your formation and run. But if you're just trying to get her more gold, leaving in your she's not going to do that just running normally through your formation. You want her in when you're doing your actual gold farming. So you want her in. You want to make sure she's in an Azaka farm formation at some point to soak up gold, not to get you more gold, but to soak up some gold. That's where you're really going to see this number go up. Friends and Wealth increases the damage of all champions by 100% for each gold find champion in the formation. There it is, folks. You thought that gold tag was going to get you gold. Now, she takes gold, and she gives you a damage buff if you've got a gold find tag. That's it. I feel like they gave her the gold tag just so you could at least get this bonus for her if you don't have anybody else. Yeah. It's real ironic. I don't know. Customized arrow is her ultimate. Yeah, we'll just go over this right now. We'll fire it off in a minute. It shoots one of 3 random arrows. You don't get a pick. You either get the skull-carved arrow that hits all enemies in a line. Smoke powder arrow explodes when it hits an enemy, dealing AoE damage. Or the green leaf arrow, which does 300% damage over 20 seconds to the target enemy. So damage over time. You're just going to get one of those. Now we hop into the specializations. Said Manji. Like a rain of arrows on your wedding day. Yes. Isn't it ironic? Isn't Morgane ironic? So specializations. Here's where we get into the finagling. Fine as is, keep your distance, monster fodder, or stay out of my way. These all affect paid up front. So paid up front starts out about adjacent champions. So fine as is keeps it that way. Keep your distance. 2020, 2021 appropriate ability name. Only applies to non-adjacent champions. So, I mean, that should make sense. So anyone next to her, not going to work. It's the people who are not next to her it's going to work on. Monster fodder only applies to champs in front of Morgane. So it can be adjacent. It just has to be in front only. Stay out of my way only applies to champions behind Morgane. Again, couldn't be adjacent, but only behind. I find myself specifically sticking to either fine as is or keep your distance most of the time. But you can get, you know, super finagly with these others as well. So this is fantastic. I'm going to continue to go fine as is because we're sitting here tight in the middle of this formation for reasons that will be quickly apparent. So another, whoa, 4 more spec choices. This is an interesting setup, though, because what happens here is Morgaine has not just 2 spec choices, but 3. And these last 2, you get to pick 2 out of these 4 that are showing on the screen right now. Again, highly adaptable. Really fantastic system. We haven't seen it show up anywhere else, but hopefully they do this again. So keep it simple. Increases just straight 300% buff to paid up front. Again, we're modifying paid up front here. Tight formation increases the effect of paid up front by 75% additively for each champion adjacent to Morgaine. So right away, you're going to want to do some quick maths. If you only have 4 adjacent, if you have less than 4 adjacent, tight formation is less important than keep it simple, right? Because keep it simple is 300%. Tight formation needs 4 to equal that 300%. But if you have 5 or more, it's going to be bigger. So right there, you would know, okay, tight formation is going to be the better option. We're going to have 6 adjacent here. So we're going to have 450% potentially if we go tight formation. Calm under pressure increases the effect of paid up front by 20% for each enemy attacking a champion within 2 slots of Morgaine, up to a max of 20 enemies. So that's 400% max buff. Okay, again, tight formation, 450 in our current setup, so still better than calm under pressure. But calm under pressure, if you can live to stack up 20 champions, is going to give you more than keep it simple. However, it does require that ramp. So if you need to kill things quickly without waiting for ramping damage, the first 2 are going to be that straight damage effect. If you can wait, the last 2 are going to be solid options. So the long game increases the effect of paid up front by 10% for every second that an enemy isn't killed, up to a max of 60 seconds. Resets when an enemy is killed. So this is a potentially 600% damage. So if you can get 6 around you, the highest potential ramping damage, if you can live for 60 seconds, is tight formation and the long game. If you can't get 6 around you, then the highest ramping damage is calm under pressure in the long game. If you're just looking for instant damage and you can't afford to wait around, then you go with keep it simple and tight formation. Should be straightforward. I'm going to go tight formation here, and then on the next one I'm going to go the long game, just because I like to play the long game. Yeah, I mean they put it in there. I had to do it. I'm contractually obligated. So yeah, that's it. It's just lots of buffs all the way through to the end. She gets supporting feats, so damage all champions. She can buff her paid up front ability. Obviously, that's kind of what you want. As you can see, despite a gold tag, not a gold champion, doesn't have any gold find stuff. There's a Friends in Wealth. I haven't bought it for a reason. That's Morgaine. So this is the core AC Inc. group. Now we're going to talk about the C team. We go all the way back to slot 1. To your friend in darkness, K'thristrab. Dissonant Whispers. K'thris telepathically whispers discordant melody that damages and slows a random enemy. So some nice crowd control, but only single target. He's got the support type stuff, so all damage type bonuses. He's got a Hordes person. This is an AC thing. Unseen encouragement items, and then ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown. I did forget. We talked about Morgaine's ult, but boom, it's not the greatest animation. It's just there's this like trailing arrow effect that you don't normally get. That's it. That's it. All right, let's talk more K'thris, though. Let's talk more K'thris. So this is K'thris, and this is Legati, for those who don't know. So he is a Drow Warlock. Hordes person. Once again, we get into this weird shenanigans with some AC Inc. people where they take your money, but then they turn it into power. Because I mean, it's kind of fitting. So, level 25, Hordes person reduces gold fine by 10%, but increases the damage of all champions. Collect bonus coins to summon a demon that massively buffs the damage of your lowest damage champion for 30 seconds. This is... I'm going to have to remove the familiar. Sorry, folks. Boom. Those pink coins. See those pink coins? That's what you're collecting. So he's going to collect those coins, and he's going to summon... It's not named in here, but canonically, Grave of Men. Let me tell you, Grave of Men does more in this game than they ever did in the Ack Inc. games. But that's fine. So Grave of Men is going to pop up as this demon, and we're gonna wait here. I kind of want to see it. Let's go. Oh, did we miss it already? Nope. Yeah, demon, 35 coins. We're getting close. We're getting close. Give me Grave of Men. The anticipation, folks. The anticipation. It's going to happen eventually. Did we get there yet? Come on. Basically, the amount of buffage that you're going to get is effectively going to bring your lowest damage champion up on par with your highest damage champion. So suddenly you're going to... Oh, hey, there's that mimic. So suddenly you're going to have effectively like 2 DPS. Sometimes that there he is. There's Grave of Men. Look at that boy. Look at that handsome boy. Sometimes they're even going to do more damage than your primary DPS normally would. It's neat. You build around this, folks. You build around this. This is kind of a big deal because you want that damage spike. Unseen Encouragement increases the damage of champions furthest from Cthulhu. So this is another one of those shenanigans things. No, we're not shenanigans, but formation layout shenanigans, like we were talking about with Assassin with Omen. This is the other person. Cthulhu is the other person. Cthulhu is the other person that wants to be super far away to maximize buffage. So in this formation, the way to do that, I kind of did it instinctively, is to place, in Mad Wizard, you place Cthulhu down here and you place the DPS up here. And that makes Cthulhu do unseen stuff to all of these 2 away spots and buff them all so you keep your DPS. This isn't something you're always going to be able to pull off in a formation, but if you can build around it, that's going to be better because of his spec choices. Efficient bookkeeping reduces the number of coins required to summon the Hordes person Shadow Demon by 25%. Or by 25, excuse me. But, yeah. So this means you're going to get that boost more often. This is what you would like. This is why I say you kind of want to build around it. Velvet Touch, though, lets Unseen Encouragement now target all non-adjacent champions. So if you're in a formation where you just can't put Cthulhu, you can't put Cthulhu and the DPS as the furthest potential away from each other, then you have to go Velvet Touch. So it makes it a pretty straightforward choice between these two. Either you can make it, you can make this work, or you can't. And you go over here. We can, though, so we're going to go Efficient Bookkeeping. And are we there yet? Yes, we are. All right. And that's it for Cthulhu Draub. He does have, like I said, Unseen Encouragement buffs. It's almost like I like those. Damage all champions, of course. He gets a gold find? Feat? Huh? I feel like they threw this in there to make up for the fact that he takes gold away from you, but they didn't give one to Morgaine. A little confusing. A little confusing. All right, so Tentacular Spectacular is the ultimate. Cthulhu summons a horde of tentacles across the battlefield that damage and slow all enemies. Let's see it. There they go. I feel like it could stay out a little longer, but you get the idea. You get the idea. All right, so that's Cthulhu. Now we're going to go on to slot 2 with the good boy himself, Dinar Blitzen. Here's the original Here is the Yum Yum Hut Dinar. Fantastic. Fantastic. So he's got this, he's this big dragonborn boy. He's a paladin. He's a paladin. Dragonborn paladin. He's got this gigantic sword. He's a support healer, folks. Support healer. With a magical base attack. Dinar targets a random enemy, causing a random command on them, casting a random command on them, and doing a small amount of psychic damage. The armor and the sword are just for looks, folks. Just for looks. I mean, it looks good. But he's all about telling people what to do. Less about smacking them in the head with things. And I want to get... There we go. There we go. I'm like, I've got the information around here somewhere. Where'd it go? So, the 4 basic commands. Again, this is in my guides on this Reddit. Hold, the target is stunned for 3 seconds. Flee, the target is pushed back, and damage dealt to it is increased by 100% for 10 seconds. Fear, the target now has a 50% chance to miss on any attack for the next 5 seconds. Drop your stuff. The target drops 50% more gold when it dies. So, pretty useful. Pretty useful overall. Some nice effects that come just with a basic attack. And drop your stuff sticks around even if once it shows up, it's this little 3 lines down with a coin on it, so it's like it's dropping more gold. Once you see that, you can pull Dinar out, and that buff still sticks around. Great for Azaka farming. Great for Azaka farming. His sword is called Toothbrush, by the way, and his toothbrush is called Sword. No, that's not right. His toothbrush is Percival, technically. But yeah, Toothbrush. You get where I'm going with that, though. So all champs damage. We've got Aura Vitality buff. We got a Lead by Example buff, and then ultimate attack stuff in the final 2. Aura Vitality is his heal. I use Dinar a lot. I recommend him for certain things like unlocking Dragon Bait because of his heal. Not because it's a huge heal, but because it can heal anyone in the party. So every second, Dinar targets the champion that has lost the most health on a percentage basis, giving them a healing buff that lasts for 10 seconds and heals for, an amount every second. And you can reset that, by resetting the time. So if they're still the lowest the next second, he's gonna drop that heal on them again. And he's basically just gonna boost that person, and he can bounce, but he can bounce those heals all around the party if he needs to. So that's super useful in some scenarios. Lead by Example increases damage of all champions in the same column as Dinar, as well as, this is important, as well as all champions behind him in the formation. So you can be buffing the same column, or you can just put in front and let it buff everything behind. So super useful in that regard too, in terms of flexibility for formation layout. Yes, and Dinar's tail is named Kevin. And it acts on its own at times. Ultimates. No. Spec choices. Wait, are we to the ultimate yet? We do. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Gird your loins, folks. So he has 2 spec choices. Oh yeah, and everyone cool out. So oh yeah basically increases the effect. It remains single target, but it increases the effect. So the duration of Dinar's hold command by 2 seconds, effects of flee by 100%, of fear by 50%, and of drop by 100%. So this is the one when you just, if you're really focusing on, say, a boss, or if you're doing Zaka farming, oh yeah. Otherwise, everyone cool out, because it makes the commands AoE. And like it makes them slow down. It holds them. It makes them miss. It makes them drop more gold, like as an AoE. This is great if you're dealing with massive amounts of enemies building up on your tanks, because it can make them, with the miss, it can make them the tanks more survivable. It also makes them drop more gold when they die. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that one all the way up to the soft cap. Boom. And that's it, folks. He's a very good boy, but he's very straightforward in what he does. Increase damage of all champions. He can increase his heal. So if you're putting him in because you want that heal, you can boost that heal. He buffs his lead by example, and that's it. He has 4 feats, which is 2 more than you'd think a Dragonborn would have, right? But there you go. His ultimate, Acid Vomit. Sorry, folks. It's like an acid reflux thing. This is this is how he flavored his draconic acid breath. So he's got this, whole thing he does and then sprays it everywhere. So he attacks the nearest enemy with his comically oversized sword, then vomits acid in a puddle. Which deals damage to enemies who walk through it. So there you go. Herk, herk, herk. Big pool of vomit. Now the thing to remember here is that he attacks something and then he kind of hops back and then drops the pool. This is good if you're on a level where things are moving towards you, because he's coming back and everything's going to walk through that puddle. So he's making sure he places it somewhere they're still going to walk through instead of behind them because of the time on the animation. However, it can be problematic with stationary bosses. Unless it lands perfectly, a lot of times it just ends up missing them completely. So keep that in mind. I mean, that's fitting for Dinar, quite frankly. That it can just miss entirely. I just totally blanked. Cathris, Dinar, Walnut is up next. I'm like, where are we going with this bus? Here we go. Here we go. Walnut. Walnut has a lot of skins, folks. The original Walnut, Dawn Grass. She is a Wood Elf Druid. Tanking support. She wickedly attacks her nearest enemy with her scimitar. But she also got Grove Keeper Walnut skin. There's a Clone Walnut skin, which I like to refer to as Walnut. This is part of it. This price tag is because this comes as part of the Champions of Renown pack, which is like 5 champions and tons of stuff for them. So don't freak out. It's not just for a skin. And then there was the Stay-at-Home Walnut that we got in 2020 with the Kigurumi, which of course that's the one I use. I mean, come on. Damage all champ stuff just for one of those. And then we get lots of ability stuff. So Documancer, Job's Done, Wolf Nut, and then the ultimate attack stuff. Yeah. Starts out at a 20 overwhelm for a tank, which isn't horrible. Some start a lot higher, though, but it's not horrible. Let's get Walnut up to the front here. Boom. So, Documancer. These are Ack Inc. things, by the way. Things like Documancer. Also, the ultimates, like they're based off actual ultimates. These weren't created. These are things that they did that were kind of like ultimates in the show. Documancer increases damage of adjacent champions by 5% for each enemy killed in this area. Resets when changing areas. So this kind of, right off the bat, it makes you want to put them adjacent to your DPS. We'll talk more about that, though. It's not always... Things aren't always as straightforward. Job's Done. Adds a bonus to Documancer for 30 seconds when completing a quest or entering a completed area. Killing enemies in a completed area resets the duration to 30 seconds. So this is everything about Walnut buffs and alters Documancer. Which we've seen that on a few champions now. But it's kind of nice. It focuses everything and makes it real clean. So you know that, hey, this ability is what you're building around, and then everything else just modifies that ability. Effectively, this creates a ramping buff situation based off kills. So when you get to a point where you stop killing, you're going to see your buffs drop. And this can require you to go back to a level, kill a bunch of things again, and then come back up and try to go. But eventually it's going to hard wall. It's kind of the opposite. Sometimes you want... Well, usually with a tank, you would want like the buff to get higher as you stop killing so that you can start killing again. But this kind of works the opposite way, which is why we don't see Walnut a ton in the meta, but she's still functional. She still works. I used her quite a bit. Wolf Nut. Walnut uses Wild Shape to turn into a wolf whenever they are under attack. gaining 32 temporary hit points, and that number can adjust for each enemy on screen at the time of transformation. So Walnut becomes a lot tankier. And actually, if I remember correctly, let me double check. Where is... Stop yelling at me. Where's the nut? Give me that nut. Yeah, the shield remains even if she reverts back to her elf form. So that's important to note. All right. And then Contractual Obligations, again, increases the health of all champions by 12.5% of Walnut's maximum health. So that's less of a health share than most tanks. But the effect is doubled when in wolf form. So when she does transform, then everybody gets more health, because at that point she feels like, well, okay, I need to defend everybody. Pin Pause. Increases the effect of Documancer by 100% for every 2 seconds that Walnut is in wolf form. So here's the ramping buff for Documancer. Told you it was in there. Kind of hinted that it was coming, right? This is the ramping buff that then lets you kind of ramp Documancer back up. You've got to be under attack. The buff decreases every 4 seconds while Walnut's not in wolf form. And then we modify things with spec choices. So here we go. Choose an upgrade path. Extended warranty, sign a date, or screw it. Extended warranty Documancer now also applies to all champions within 2 slots of Walnut and is buffed by 100%. I told you that whole adjacency thing isn't always necessary. Sign a date Documancer now also applies to all champions in the top or bottom slots of each formation and is buffed by 50%. This first spec choice, because she gets multiple, is all about formation layout. Like you're tailoring it to your formation layout. If you can get within 2, that's the best one. That's the 100% bonus. But there's other ways to do it. Screw it is just applies to everyone, but there's no buff. So you're either getting 100% bonus, 50% bonus, or no bonus. We're going extended warranty. Because it was no cost, folks. So if they give you a no cost extended warranty, yeah, why not? The next one. Cosigners or temporary alliance. Cosigners, each target of Documancer is buffed 100% for each of these buffs also affecting the target. Cathris's Unseen Encouragement. Dinar's Lead by Example. Rosie's Deflect Missiles. So if you're using the rest of the C team, then you go cosigners, because you're going to get a bigger, but you're going to get a nice big bonus here. Otherwise, Temporary Alliance increase the effect of Documancer by 25% for each champion in the formation with an affiliation other than the C team. This means it has to have an affiliation tag right here. Here's a Baldur's Gate. This would get you 25%, right? Force Grey. This would get you 25%. Heroes of Erois. This would get you 25%. None. Womp womp. Right, so you kind of build Walnut. Either you're going full Ack Inc, or you're doing Temporary Alliance and you want people with affiliations. We're going all in on Ack Inc today. I want to say that's it, as we're waiting for the level up. Is that correct? Ultimate, Forest Friends, Cosigners. Yes, I was right. All right. So you get all the stuff over here showing up. We get the all champs damage. We get health. That's always nice. We get defensive duelist. Again, what you want for a tank. Walnut's ultimate is interesting. Walnut's ultimate is... Does it say she's this? No. Tanking support. Walnut's ultimate arguably could also qualify her for a healing tag. Grant... What are you doing, buddy? Get back over there. Forest Friends. Walnut summons a swarm of lovable Forest Friends to attack all enemies. So this is a screen-wide effect. Each enemy killed heals the party by 10% of their max. So that means if you could kill 10 enemies, you're fully healed. If no enemies are killed, the formation gains a temporary hit point shield equal to 100% of their max health. Heck yeah. So, Forest Friends is not an ultimate you fire off just willy-nilly. Like, it can be really useful in boss fights, because if they've got trash mobs and the ultimate's going to kill the trash mobs, you're going to get a full heal. If it's not going to kill them, you're going to get a nice shield damage bonus. Or shield bonus. One moment. Alright. So yeah, that's nice. Here we go. We're doing Force Friends. Look at them go! They're so cute! Look at them kill all the things! And everything was getting healed while that was happening. They're adorable. They're adorable. Finally, last... I know you were waiting for something, but it didn't happen. Rosie Beestinger. Everybody, Rosie Beestinger. Grandmother Knight. She's here in her bee outfit. Here's the original. But, I mean, come on. You got to go with the bees. The Halfling Monk. Currently available in Festival Fools. Technically a DPS champion? Technically. So she gets the damage to herself stuff. She gets buffs to Sassy and Busy Bee Stinger, which are her abilities, and then the normal ultimate attacks. Her Shadow Step, she appears behind a random enemy and strikes them with her fists. Because DPS. Technically, we would want her over there if we were going to use her as DPS, and not use Jim, and Jim becomes like a support, but not really for Rosie. So you've really got to kind of, if you're doing Ink stuff, you got to determine who your DPS is going to be. Jim. Sorry, Kate. It's not my fault. It's not. I didn't do this. All right. Upgrade. Sassy. Increase the base damage of Rosie by 100% for each champion younger than her in the formation. She's 110. So Cathris is out. Dinar's in, because he's only 19. He's a young boy. Omen's in. Jim is in. Walnut's in. So, and Morgana's out. So again, in the Ink lineup, like right away, just with a C team, if you're just running the C team, she only gets that for at least 2 members, and everybody else you kind of have to try to build around if you want to do that. Deflect missiles. This is like the best part of Rosie's kit. Is this defensive ability for a DPS? I have used her to defeat hard variants that have magic damage from, say, Gazers and the Xanathar, because deflect missiles in this game affects both ranged and magic attacks, and specifically targeting her or adjacent champions every 2.5 seconds. So, you know, you could have her specifically like up here, build it adjacent to the tank, and that works. In some things where it's damaging your whole party, then you might want it more like here, so that you're at least deflecting for everybody in, you know, around her. Situational. Busy Bee Stinger reduces the time between Rosie's attacks by 0.5 second and increases her damage for each C team champion in the formation. So there's only 3 other potential C team champions, so this is going to be, you know, only going to maximum apply of 3 times. Keep that in mind. Shadow Arts. Every 5th attack, Rosie does a whirlwind, hitting all nearby enemies for 50% of her base damage. And again, this is gonna change over time. Hold on. Raspy throat today. All right. Spec choices: Matriarch or From the Shadows. Matriarch alters Sassy by buffing it by 25%, but for every female champion in the formation younger than Rosie. So at some point when we have an all-female party and they're all younger than she is, you know, this could be the choice to use. Otherwise, From the Shadows, which increases Rosie's Shadow Arts ability by 300%. We're just going to go with that. Just going to go with that. And that's it, right? Oh, Timeless Body reduces the number of attacks required to trigger Rosie's Shadow Arts ability by 1. So yeah, you can buff up that the Shadow Arts, which was the AOE. So now, as you can see, every 4th attack, Rosie does a whirlwind, hitting all nearby for 200% of her base damage. Because again, as you level up, it modifies. So we're up to that AOE. Ultimately, will be what kills things. which is fine because at that point you will have lots of enemies built up on you and she can wave clear. Theoretically. She gets, because she's a DPS, she gets self-damage. And then she buffs her sassy ability. We don't get one that buffs anything else. She has an int feat, which, honestly, that's the moneymaker feat if you have Strahd, because his perk means this is like 150% bonus. So, yeah, keep that in mind once you get Strahd. Her ultimate is Gramomancy. Rosie roots all enemies and darts around, striking up to 10 enemies, then deflects all missiles for a time. So this is the useful. So all range magic attacks for 15 seconds. So when you're fighting in those gazer fights, and you just need 15 seconds to kill everything on the screen, or the Xanathar or whatever, then you fire this off, and she does her thing and just whips around. Pop, pop, pop. Now, if there had been more enemies on the screen, she would have kept going. But then everything misses for 15 seconds. That's it, folks. That's the current state of Acquisitions Incorporated in the game. Not quite a full Mad Wizard formation. We're missing like two. Two more, and it could do it. You know, honorable mention to someone who can't be in the formation. Once upon a time, Bedwin Bronzebottom. Unfortunately, in Omen's slot, it's still, to this day, seriously. Other honorable mentions for people who can be: Evelyn, Avalona Helvig Marthane, Paladin of Lathander. Could be. We'll do the mom arm style for this. Could be in here. Evelyn, canonically, is part of the C team, but has also fought alongside the rest of Acquisitions Incorporated. Occasional pen pal of Omen drawn, and Strix Beestinger. Canonically. We're gonna go smelly lunch. Canonically, Rosie Beestinger's adopted daughter also has fought along the Acquisitions Egg main team. So you can fill out the whole group. You can fill out the whole group if you bring in some, extra people. Who knows if we'll get like Bobby Zimmerowski maybe in the future? That would be cool. Cheese, 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 cheese. But for now, this is what we got, folks. So yeah, so we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and we're going to answer. I see there's questions over here. So I will go back and I'll run through all the questions. Make sure that they get addressed. But for now, we're going to have a short musical interlude with some more bardic inspiration songs. This one is, there aren't any. Yeah, there aren't any for any of the Ac Inc. members yet. This one is going to be for Lazaps. So this is Artificer of My Fate, and we will be back momentarily.
Down in the cards, your dreams are ground up every day. To keep the heart of Sean alive, you pound away. But not for me, I will not live my life Oh, oh yeah. Destiny is not what you're given. It's just what you make it. So just take it. Give me steel, give me fire. Watch what I create. Make it real, come the spot. Give me my escape. Mama shields, come on dream. In reality, it's my destiny. God, it feels so on my fate.
And we are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Wait, no, I'm the one that came back. Welcome back to me. I want to see how far we can go with this. So we're going to throw on like an hour of speed. An hour of speed. That's probably too much. Probably too much. All right, I'm going to dive into the questions. I'm going to hit the ones that are related to our topic first, which is Acquisitions Incorporated. Why are Binwin and Strix not included in synergies with Acquisitions Inc.? Because Binwin went off and did his own thing. Oh, my face today. He has Binwin's minions. He now runs his own group. So was not, and you know, at the time, not one of the actual live members of Acquisitions Incorporated. There were others like Morgaine had come back. They had Viari via Patrick Rothfuss. And again, like Bobby Zimmerowski, they were having some of the like Evelyn and Strix show up. Yeah, so different. And Strix was part of the Waffle Crew as a whole other group. There's a whole other group. There was a crossover episode, which was fantastic. If you had watched both shows, that was Waffles Inc. That was kind of co-DM'd by Chris Perkins and Jerry Holkins. So that was pretty fantastic. Thris's achievement, is it just use and grind, or is there another way to expedite it? No, just throw Chris in. Chris, well, that's his actual name. And just put a familiar on Tentacular, Spectacular, and Profit. Yeah. Can you go over the Jim Bailoth synergy? I mean, are we talking just that he's a magic user and Bailoth's a strong support, or are we talking shenanigans? I'm not going to go into shenanigans on screen. I don't know CNE's current stance on it. I tried to ask, and I didn't get a response, but we may have to wait until, like, Justin's on stream to find out. So, yeah. Ask in the Discord. I think the gold tag is so she always gets at least one person counting towards her ability. This is in regards to Morgaine, and yeah, that's what I think too, but I mean, they could have just defaulted the buff to 100% and plus anyone with a gold tag, and then not given her the gold ability, and thus it would have been less confusing. Kevin massively buffs in regards to Cthulhu's Grave of Men. Yeah, like I said, it basically brings them up on par with your primary DPS. It is a massive buff because it takes your lowest DPS member, which, as we all know, could be absolute garbage on the team, and then makes them your highest DPS, effectively. Where did the stay-at-home walnut skin drop from? I believe it was just, Jason Nolte, I believe it was just a giveaway. I believe we got it for free during the pandemic as just a life sucks, here's a skin type of giveaway thing. I don't know if there was a code related. And I don't know. Is it in the, for people who don't have it, is it in the gem store? Because I believe it was just a freebie. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where once you have it, it doesn't, you can't really go figure out where it came from. But yeah, it was definitely a giveaway. So Waffle Crew is not at Kink. No, they're not. They were their own separate thing. That was a Dungeons and Dragons stream with Chris Perkins as DM. That was separate. It's just that because at the time Chris was also DMing Ack Inc., the main team. You know, there was some crossover potential. You had to sign up and take part in the stay-at-home live game event thing. There we go. Okay, so that was okay, then it wasn't a freebie. That was the charity. I think that was for doing a charity D&D thing. All right. So then that's probably going to show up. If it shows back up, then it would show up in the wild offers. All right. Thanks for the reminder, folks. Yeah, it's one of those things where like I don't track where all the skins come from. I just go, give them to me. All the skins. You know, it'd be cool as another Ack Inc. character, AFL. Yeah, but that's... So here's the thing. The AFL was a long time ago. So like all the current Ack Inc. stuff is... This is the 5e version of the game. Like that's where they're going with most if not all this stuff is attempting to stay true to 5e Dungeons and Dragons and yeah, and the current state of streams and gaming groups. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it would be neat, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. Can that formation be used throughout the campaign or just acquisitions incorporated specific? I'm not sure what you mean there. I mean, this isn't a very optimal formation. Using both the Ack Inc. teams together, it's neat and it can be fun, and you could finish, you know, adventures and variants with it. It's not necessarily the greatest pushing formation in the world. There's a lot of redundancies here. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's all of these specific Ack Inc. questions we have. So going back, I open it up. Any questions? Yeah, we got 45 minutes, folks. Question of the new things happening next week. Which one are you the most excited for? I'm going to add in of the things announced. For me, it's the new patron because I'm out of stuff to do except for farming. So yeah, they have announced next week, Spring Extravaganza happening on Wednesday, March 31st. 12 hours of streaming-ish. 9 a.m. here on the CNE Games channel. But that's also a patch day. That's also a patch day. And with that patch is coming so many things. One of which, well, first off, Descent into Avernus, Part 10. So that's the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus campaign. We're getting the finale. The final boss was revealed on Griddle Champions yesterday. Tiamat. We're fighting Tiamat. We're fighting Tiamat in this game. Next, as of next Wednesday. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. We're also getting a new patron. Zariel is going to be a new patron in the game. We don't have any information other than that's the patron. That's our Avernus patron. We're also getting a new Evergreen champion, Rhea Mantlemorn. The champion spotlight is already out. Hit up the Codename Entertainment website. You can find the link in the Discord. It's probably posted on the subreddit by now. Rhea's going to be an Evergreen in slot 6. I know we just got a slot 6 champion, but, you know, there's lots of people coming into the game that are new that are going to get, now we have another Evergreen, and there are variants out there that only allow you to have core Evergreen champions, so we're having another option. We're getting another tool in our tool belt, another option in the roster. Rhea's very lawfully good. Very, very lawfully good. Which, yeah, she wields the Sword of Zariel. course. So yeah. We're also getting Bardic Inspiration Volume 1. An album of 8 of the songs from Bardic Inspiration. There is a blog post about that too that goes through the whole song list. I've already got an early release copy. It's fantastic. I was listening to it this morning while I was prepping for the stream. So good. So good. Jason Charles Miller took it into the studio, Central Command Studios, his music studio, and did some amazing things with it. So that is going to be available for purchase on Steam as a DLC, which gives you high quality MP3 and FLAC files you could download to listen to it anywhere you want. However, the music is also going to be in the game as the soundtrack, the new expanded soundtrack to Idle Champions. There's going to be some kind of in-game music player. We have yet to see how that's going to function yet. But, you know, we're going from one music track in-game to 17. Because not only do you get all 8 fully produced, vocalized songs, you also get 8 instrumental versions. So yeah. Next Wednesday is kind of a big deal. Oh, and I may have teased yesterday really quickly. The Fast Core is coming. So our third Modron core and a third party for multi-party mode. Both arriving at the same time next Wednesday. There's a lot coming next Wednesday. And they're still spoiling stuff. They're still teasing stuff. There's going to be more teasers on social media this weekend, I heard. And next week before Wednesday. So yeah. There is a lot. There is a lot of stuff. I was fangirling Rainstorm. I was fangirling so hard last night during Jason's stream because it finally clicked for me that he is the same Jason Miller that did the voice for Rabon in Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. Yeah, Jason Charles Miller does VO for video games. He's done a lot. He was Dritz. This doesn't get talked about often. He's Dritz Doerden in the video games. Yeah. Also a musician. He has his own album that dropped last night. Or yesterday. He had an album release party last night. You can go catch that on his Twitch channel. From the Wreckage Volume 1. The watch party was real cool. There was like over 1,100 people watching on Twitch last night. But the music's real good, folks. He has 2 albums dropping within 5 days of each other, which is wild. Yeah. He's good. He's good. Critter Wolf, your streams have been a game changer for me. Thank you. You're welcome. All the streams on the helping streams I think are great. So there's mine, there's Mars's. There used to be Evergreen champions with Satine and Margaret. They're all good stuff. But we try to answer as many questions as we can for people. Get someone in chat suggest me an adventure with a crap ton of undead monsters. Raziel Van Helsing. Yeah, I can see why you want to go kill some undead. I go to into Tomb of Annihilation, and I go to Tomb of the Nine Gods. When I'm trying to do like patron challenges where I just need to kill lots of undead, that's where I go. If you're doing something like trying to farm Zorbu's undead, then I think I put notes for that in my guide to Zorbu on the subreddit, so maybe check that out. And I'm sure there's people that have that information referenced in the Discord if you're just trying to Zorbu farm. Just kind of depends on what you're trying to do. Iconoplast, what's the rule of thumb for how much blessing you should spend? You want to have this checkbox here. You don't want it gone. You want it on. And that way, when you go to spend your favor, a little pop-up warning will come up. And when you see that pop-up, then you go, no, nope, 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 nope. But spend until the pop-up comes up. That's the rule of thumb. That's the generic rule of thumb. There are, of course, exceptions for how to do things. But if you don't know how to make that exception, if make an informed decision about those exceptions, then just go based on the warning. Darius the Mayor, what does the particle amount mean in the settings? It's basically like all of these effects that are going on the screen, like with animations, like the ability effects and whatnot for all of this stuff. They have particles associated with them at times, and the setting is supposed to reduce that wherever appropriate. Some things may not show reduced particles, others may. I did see a comment in here I'm going to address, also from Darius. Where'd it go? I saw it fly by in chat. Thank you to everybody that stopped by today. We got a lot of people in chat. It's nice. It was something about with so many champions, I think the game will not last much longer. Maybe one more year, I guess. What? Do you think they're running out of champions? I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible to run out of potential champions for the game. And the more variety you include, the more situational you can make things. Now, does it create almost like a very long list? Does it make it longer? Like the longer you wait to start playing this game, is it harder to catch them all? Oh yeah, it's going to take longer. But they have added, every year they've kind of added ways to both make it easier. Well, maybe not every year, but recently, like when they updated the time gate system, they made it easier for you to go back and get more champions quicker because you could select them on your own and you could hand pick the ones that were best for you. And they've added other systems that make it easier to gear them up. Most recently, Electrum chests can potentially get them all to blue gear. And all blue is basically what I consider functional for newer players. So, I don't know. There's so much lore, and there's new books coming out all the time with new characters and new campaigns that they can take us in. But they're also, those books have characters in them. There's older characters they haven't brought into the game yet. And we brought Melf into the game. Melf's historic, right? Like truly historic to Dungeons and Dragons. But also there's new streams. There are streams out there that have been going for years, that continue to go, have big followings, and their characters aren't in the game yet. But maybe soon. Right? So I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot that can happen. Hyper Casual, forgot what you said about how much E in favor that I'd need to do a Lindra's third variant without a tank. My guess was E15. There have been a lot more people that have done it now. So hit up the new player channel in the Discord. They've probably got a better idea of exactly how much you need, but a lot. I mean, the more the merrier. And it's okay if you don't do it. It's okay if you don't finish it. It'll be back next year, or you can hit it up in a time gate. Like the next time gate you do for a Lindra will include that variant, because if you've done the other two, then that's the one it's going to give you. And in a time gate, you can run free plays infinitely for favor if you need it. But I mean, you would obviously want to have more power to get more favor, because that seems to be where the issue is. So I think E15-ish, maybe that was my guess, but it's difficult to say. Is Rhea out already? No, Wednesday. All this stuff's coming on Wednesday. Will there be special giveaways during the extravaganza again? I'm not running it. I don't know. All I can tell you is what's happened at prior events like this. At prior events like this, all the shows that you usually get to watch during the week are, not all of them, but a lot of them have special editions. We've already heard Griddle Champion is going to be kicking off the day with a full version. So from 9 to 11, we'll have Griddle Champions, a special edition of Griddle Champions. In the past, we have had, well, like Wednesdays is usually Mars' Guiding Hand, so we're probably going to see Mars' Guiding Hand on his usual day, but I don't know if it's going to be in the same time slot. Things may bounce around. In the past, we've had special dev streams. So yeah, I mean, and they've done, in the past they've done, well, there's usually an Electrum chest for every stream, right? Or there's usually a chest to give in code in each stream. So one would assume that there's going to be lots of codes available that day. I don't know though. I don't know. What does Evergreen mean in terms of champions? Iconoplast, Evergreen is the term that got coined for meaning that a champion is available year-round. Kind of like an evergreen tree is green year-round. Evergreen champions are available year-round. So event champions are only available in their event originally, because originally there were no time gates. Originally, you just had to wait a year for that event to come back to get that champion. So they created a set of characters that you could get outside of events and time gates. These are Evergreen champions. Hitch is one. Hitch is, you go sign up for the newsletter, and you get Hitch. He's an Evergreen. Azaka and Dragonbait are the Evergreens for the Tomb of Annihilation campaign. You earn them by doing that campaign. They're in variants in that campaign. Dritz is an Evergreen in the Sword Coast campaign. Pretty early on, really early on in the Sword Coast campaign. Ulcoria is the Waterdeep Evergreen at the very end of the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. And Rhea will be the Evergreen for Avernus at the very end, presumably, of the Avernus campaign. Those are our Evergreens. That term also gets thrown around for just the 12 core champions. They'll bundle all that together and call it Evergreen sometimes. So we're fighting Tiamat. That means Archon will be fighting Tiamat? That seems wrong. Kevin, I don't disagree. I asked specifically when they announced this, will Archon and the Dark Order be disabled for that fight? Because that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that you can't bring Archon, Torrigar, and Krull in to that fight, because they wouldn't be fighting Tiamat. But again, it's a video game, folks. It's a video game, and things in video games happen that don't happen in real life. It's all a game, folks. But yeah, I get it. I get it. Any suggestion for slot 4? I get sick of Jarlaxle. Baloth? Baloth is the current Bay in slot 4. Sentry is a great speed champion in slot 4. So there's 2 options for you. What campaign is Tiamat going to be in? Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, because Tiamat is in Avernus. So, yeah. On her home turf. Grail Shaped, a few shows ago you suggested not to immediately buy a second Modron core once we could. Could you walk us through that thought again? Well, yeah, because, as I just said, the speed core, the fast core, whatever you want to call it, I think it's called a fast core, coming out Wednesday. I don't know for how much. I don't know if it's gems or cash. I don't know. But it comes out Wednesday, so until you have that information, buying a second core right now doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because frankly, a fast core is going to be more useful to you as someone who's just picking up their first additional core, so their second core. Wow, Gar. Than just another power core would. Because if it's going to speed up your progress, that means it speeds up your leveling and your power progression through the game. That's just super useful. Has the PDF for Unfair Seas been released yet? If so, where? Yeah, it's on their it's on the blog. It's on their blog, I believe. It may be linked in the Discord. I already downloaded it, so I know it's out there. And then once a Fool's Errand finishes on Monday, and once that's done, then there will probably be a blog that goes up that has that PDF too. Because remember, these are adventures that they made. They're played a little differently on stream. I believe at a higher level. I think these are lower level adventures that B-Dave adjusted for high level. Darius, is it better to save up certain chests or open them immediately? I mean, it depends on your situation. I save all mine because I don't need anything from them right now. So I save regular silver and golds, and I save electrums. My reasoning behind that is, I guess there's multiple reasons, but I guess we go through them. Currently, I'm saving silvers and not opening them at all because I want shinies for Rhea when she comes out. And silvers are accrued the easiest, both just as drop loot. So I've got 3,600 and change. And there's going to be 6 slots for Rhea, so I need 6 shinies. There's a 1 in 1,000 chance for them to drop out of chests. So, but there's no pity timer. So I could get it in 6 chests, or I could get it in infinite chests. Like, we don't know. I don't open gold chests until events. Because what I do is I open up all my gold chests after an event starts, because during an event I burn through all of my bounty contracts to get myself tons of event tokens. I burn all my bounty contracts each event. That's just me. Some people save them and then they hoard them and they only use them at certain times, but I don't do it that way. So I save all my gold chests, and obviously I'm saving up some because Rhea's coming out again. So 60 gold chests will get you full epic on Rhea, guaranteed. It's probably less than that, but 60 at the worst. And then Electrums right now, I'm not going to burn Electrums for Rhea. I don't think that's useful at all because I have so many silvers I'm going to be using. But Electrums I save up between events, and I open them when I'm doing new event champ stuff. So there's my reasoning for that kind of stuff. You can apply your own based off your goals. If you're a newer player, though, when you get chests, just frickin' open them. You need that power. You do. My reasoning is from someone who doesn't need that power. I don't need that instant gratification, and not even gratification, but instant power that comes from opening all the chests as you get them early on and needing that gear. Is there any information regarding the unlock conditions for the new patron? No. Get a taxi. All we know is that we're getting a new patron. How do I get the familiar Sonata attack? Robo-Goblin, there is a setting. They're attacking. To get them to not attack, you have to remove them. But they are attacking, but what they are not doing is animating because I've disabled flashing and lighting effects. So if we turn it back on, you'll see now they've got their little animations going, and there's a little effect and stuff. I turn that stuff off when I'm, well, all the time, frankly, but when I'm streaming specifically because I don't want to cause any issues for anybody watching that has like flashing. I mean, that can be a trigger. Don't want to do that. Did I miss the spoilers? No spoilers today, Trontonian. I did all my spoilers yesterday. They did not give me spoilers for today's show. Oversight? I just think they didn't want to give me 2 different spoilers. Well, I had 2 spoilers to drop yesterday. I think they didn't want to give, me bunches of spoilers. I think the rest of the spoilers for the weekend would be coming out just on Twitter. And then probably we'll hit the Discord. But yeah, follow them on Twitter. Twitter and, not just Twitter. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. They post all those places. When events in the game asks you to convert favor into one of the main blessings, I never know what to do in this screen. Can you explain? Yeah, Michael. You're basically, the whole point of an event, earning event favor, well, there's 2 points. One is to make the stuff you're doing an event easier, but B, it's to use as a multiplier in your main campaign. So I have E38 favor, and because of that stupid 850 Frost Giant, I may not hit E40. I don't know. I might do another deep run. But that acts as a percentage based off the E. Every EO1 is 10%. That's going to multiply against a main campaign, and then give you a bonus. So if you hit E10, that's 100%, which means you'll get 100% of wherever you convert it. So if I were going to go over to Torm here, I would get 2.79 E58 to add on there. So I would be doubling my total amount. So what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to figure out where you want that favor, and then drop it there. Late game people tend to just always drop it in Torm, because Torm, for a couple reasons. One, you only get 9 champions in the Sword Coast campaign, which is where Torm's favor is. So having lots more favor can, be a little more helpful, right, to getting things done there. 2, that's where everybody favor farms, or not favor farms, gem farms. So having lots of favor lets you run deeper for gem farms and do shenanigans. But 3, the Sword Coast campaign is what's called a permanent campaign, kind of an endless campaign. And what that means is that the story there doesn't ever end. So as we're seeing, we're coming up to the end of Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus with part 10. That means the story there is going to be done. They'll still add variants, but eventually they'll probably stop doing that. So like Tomb of Annihilation and Waterdeep, they haven't had any additional storyline adventures forever, and they never will. Those stories are done. They're still fleshing out some variants there, but Sword Coast is going to continuously add more story stuff. We haven't seen any Sword Coast updates in a while. They've really been pushing to get through Descent into Avernus and to get us into Icewind Dale. So I feel like their primary push lately has been to progress those storylines to get us to like an Evergreen champion and a new patron and all this kind of stuff that's keyed off finishing these storylines. But when we return to Sword Coast, we will return into the Underdark. But it's just going to keep going. And as long as it keeps going, as the story keeps going, the goal levels you have to reach keep going up, which means we're always going to need a bit more favor there. So when in doubt, Torm it out, right? Like throw it in Torm. Otherwise, if you're working through one of the other campaigns and you're having some trouble getting getting things done, like especially in Avernus or Icewind Dale, if you need some more favor to get stuff done there and you're not able to earn it as quickly as you'd like, then you could convert there. But I feel like Tomb of Annihilation, Waterdeep, those are places where you're going to be pretty easily be able to push and get favor without necessarily needing to convert an event. But the thing is there's never a wrong place to convert your event favor, because there's going to be another event like within a week of you having to convert. So, every 3 weeks you're going to get to convert event favor. You're also going to get to convert time gates. So that, you're always going to make stuff up. I saw a question. So E13 is 130%. Yes, that is 130% conversion. I see people trying to say, no, it's what number it is. They're not asking what that number is. They're asking what conversion that is, because we're talking about event conversions, folks. Context. So yeah, E13 would be 130%. You see mine, that's E38, that's 380%. There is no cap to this. There is no cap to this other than what you can truly earn. Yeah. Where it gets wonky is the numbers in between. And that's why I say when you're pushing, how do you know when to stop pushing for favor? When you can no longer get a whole E. This is why scientific notation is important, because a lot of decisions get made based off scientific notation. When you can no longer get a whole E in a push, you're probably done. You're done pushing in that event or that time gate. Because the in-between stuff, the 1, the 2, the 1 point whatever, the 2, like those, that's not really important. What was the other Evergreen and Tomb? Tomb of Annihilation is Azaka is the first one, and Dragonbait is the second one. So Azaka's in the Tomb of the Nine Gods, in a variant there, and Dragonbait is all the way at the end in a variant of the Lost Love. Do golden epics drop from gold chests? No. No, the only things that come out of chests are shinies, so the silvers. Golden epics primarily come from real cash. Each patron offers one, though. So in the patron shop, there's one Evergreen for each patron, Evergreen Gold. So if we look down here, it's here. Alcoria's is Mertz. Azaka's is Vajra's. Which really makes me feel like Azaka, Vajra is kind of the Tomb of Annihilation patron instead of them both being Waterdeep. I wonder, we need to talk to Chris about that. Strahd's is Dragonbait, but that throws that argument out, because Dragonbait's in Tomb of Annihilation as well. But yeah, this is probably the one, probably the most important one, and of course it's in Strahd right now. Because getting Dragonbait tankier is more important than those others, but yeah, those are the only. Each patron will have a golden epic, but very rarely does golden epics come without a cash purchase. This is usually something that's in here, like see, Blade of Infinite Possibilities, golden epic. This comes from buying actual chests with cash. They gave your second spoilers to the Criddler. Can we ban Suppley? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. Oh, how dare they? If I turn off auto progress on 199 and beat the level, does it work to put Briv into the party and click it again to make him try and jump the boss? I don't believe so. I believe he needs to be in there. But you could go try it. These are things you can test. This is an easy thing to test. This is unfortunate. We are not going to... I don't know that I care to get past the 565 and Mad Wizard. We're just going to sit here. It's going to be annoying, folks, but it'll push us back. We'll die in a moment. Oh, wait. Is there shenanigans? Nope, no shenanigans. All right. It was worth a shot. It was worth a shot to see if there were shenanigans with Omen's ult. Any tricks on how to increase Bud for a boss fight? I mean, situationally? I mean, there are, so you can debuff stack, like right here, if I really want to beat this, one thing I can do is I can put in Warden, and I can stack up his debuff, which is that dark black rune you can see that's inscribed there. And you can get 4 stacks of that debuff on him. This is his hex, right? There's stack marks, and when you get all 4, I can see all 4 in there. They're the light purple above it. Then I can swap him out for somebody else. And that debuff, you can see, sticks around. So there are situationally, there are debuffs you can stack that linger. Ayla's linger, Warden's linger, you know, there's a few others. So you can do that to help spike your Bud on a boss. See, now we're taking off a little bit of damage on him. We're just going to stay alive by ulting repeatedly. There is, like, the actual Bud spiking is more of a strategy built around when you're in a situation where the variant restriction removes slots from your formation. As you progress deeper, the way you Bud spike is to drop back to the early level with a whole formation, get an attack in to spike your Bud, and then jump back up with fire breath potions or ultimates to kill what you're doing. That's when people talk about Bud spiking. That's the big Bud spiking reference. Otherwise, with debuff stacking is just trying to do more damage and less about spiking your Bud. Escarp, I'm about to start Rosie's 3rd variant, Bee Stingers Unleash. Which spec should I choose for Rosie and Strix? Oh. So Strix is going to be your DPS, I would assume. Honestly, I would go Smelly Lunch and whatever the right spec is for... What did I say? From the Shadows and Smelly Lunch. That's probably it. And you want Rosie tanking, and you want Strix behind her. And you're going to want, like, at least EO7 favor, but preferably higher. One golden epic at a patron once every week? No, not once every week. These are solo purchases. The weekly stuff is this stuff up here where it says remaining purchases is week 0, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. Everything down here that has this gold border is a unique purchase. You only buy it once. You only buy it once. That's it. Limited stock. So it's the stuff at the top that has a weekly number, like the potions and your Modron component chest and your time gate piece. Potions and specializations you could buy infinite amounts of, but that's a trap. Don't ever buy these. Don't ever buy these in the store, please. But yeah, limited stock has this gold border. And then infinite purchases are like, you know, patron chests are infinite purchases. How can you stand against that boss? 440 X power up like that. X5, X8, I'm dead. I'm already soft capped, so I'm effectively I'm overpowered to be here. This is not my wall. This is not a pushing formation. This isn't even remotely near my wall. I have enough power to go a lot further. I'm fine. It's not a big deal. You can artificially stop, with a artificially weak formation that is overpowered by being soft capped. I'm soft capped down here. I'm maxed out on all my upgrades. I have more power than I need to be here. I have a suboptimal formation. So the boss can't really kill me. But I can't really kill it. This is a problem. This is one of the things way back. Well, let's go in the way back machine. Well, let's open up a time gate. In the early days of Idle Champions, before the shielding, what was referred to as the shielding, healing, and tanking upgrade by the community, there was a problem with the game where you would push and get to a point where you couldn't kill anything, but they could never kill you. So you would go AFK and come back to find yourself sitting on a level with a boss like this. And you'd been there for hours, which meant you got no progression, you got no gold, you got nothing for all those hours, and it felt really painful. And they fixed that with the shielding, healing, and tanking upgrade by saying your limiter is no longer your damage, because when we did a limiter based off damage, you got to a point where it was a stalemate, and you didn't even get any gold accrual at all. So instead they made the limiter health. They made the limiter the damage you take, which is why we have things like overwhelm and all this stuff. And also shielding and healing are supposed to not be outrageous. We're seeing an example that it's still not entirely well tuned, but nowadays when you get to your wall, you're at your wall because you die and you fall back a few levels, but you're farming and you're able to kill things, and that's where you fall back to a point where you can sustain. There are still edge cases. Like this. I'm in a suboptimal formation, so I could potentially sit here on this level forever. But I did this to myself. This isn't, yeah. So, there's probably, as much as people are going to hate me saying it, there's probably another update related to shielding, healing, and tanking that needs to happen. Overwhelm needs to be more powerful, in my opinion. Self-shielding needs to come back a bit, because that's currently the end game stuff that's really causes, issues. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? There were supposed to be balance changes of some kind coming in this year, but we're only, we're about to wrap up 4 months. So there's plenty of this year left for that to happen. Have you had any further chance to form an initial opinion of Linda? Yeah, she's strong. Yeah. There is a battle royale going on in slots. In slot 6 right now. Ashara's strong. Krul's still strong. He's not OP anymore, but he's still strong. Alendra's now strong. And then, Shandy's great for speed stuff. These get used a lot. Krond and Evelyn, I mean, if you need to use them in variants, they're good. And we're about to get Rhea. So we're about to have another person here. So slot 6 is super competitive. Alendra's big thing is, she requires you to build around her abilities, specifically around like her portents. You want to have her ult active as much as possible, which is why it's unfortunate that that's the one blue that I have. But I'll epic that out soon. And she obviously wants Avrin and Freely in there. At the very least right now. And potentially she could get stronger in the future because we don't have any interaction with Briv yet. We don't have the rest of the Heroes of the Plains, which at minimum means we're still missing Orkira. # Orkira win. But we also Avern's in, so maybe Sophia's could show up, or maybe they're going to go with the current version, which is Whittle in Heroes of the Plains, the stream Heroes of the Plains on Demiplane RPG on Tuesdays. Whittle would potentially make a fantastic DPS, because we don't have a DPS in the Heroes of the Plains yet. I don't know. That brings a whole other discussion up that I would love for C&E to talk about. Like, do we need pure DPS champions in this game? Would the game actually be improved if any champion that had a DPS tag also had a support tag, and thus it isn't just either they aren't binary choices. Either you're the best DPS and you're using your best DPS, or they're not. Like, we're in this weird place. I don't know. How many enraged stacks can you get? I don't know. I don't really care. There isn't like an achievement for it, so I don't care. Yeah, this kind of stuff shouldn't happen. But it does. You can make it happen. I could go back to level 5 and try to make it, or not level 5, but you can manipulate the game to get this kind of stuff. It's not that big of a deal. For levels with lots of armor, mobs, and bosses, which are the best champions? The ones that are going to do the most damage, so that you can remove those armor chunks. Hopefully, that's multi-hit champions, like the aforementioned Ashara, who's a real strong DPS. If you can slot in like a Human and an Esmeralda and still have enough damage to chunk through those bad boys, that's going to help, because they multiply the number of chunks you remove with each attack. Will the ban wall be reworked? I don't know. I'm not on the developer team. I don't know. I don't think it needs to be, quite frankly. So for those who don't know, there's a soft ban at 1,500 right now. It got moved. It used to be lower, like 1,100. And with the rework of the maths in Idle Champions, they moved it up to 1,500. But there are people that can get there and beyond right now with shenanigans. So I don't think it needs to be moved. I think it serves no purpose to move it currently, because there's no actual real content, adventures, or variants in the game that needs you to go that far. I think they need to fix these weird interactions that are going on that allow you to push with literally nothing. I mean, you need solid investments in item levels, but that feels like the one true current like pay to win scenario in Idle Champions is dump tons of item levels on Briv and Human and get to 1,500. Do we keep receiving event tokens until right before the event ends? Yeah, up until the second the event ends, you get tokens. But the second it ends, at noon Pacific on Monday, all those tokens vanish. So you need to be in your new adventure right when it ends. If you need to use a bounty contract because you're coming up short, then use a bounty contract and get enough to jump in that last free play. About to finally get my 2 champion per slot. Just have Archon's replacement left. What's a good other one for his slot? Well, Archon, you can just go unlock Azaka in Tomb of Annihilation for free. That's an Evergreen champion in Tomb of Annihilation. Just go do that. Otherwise, Melf is a speed champion. Zorbu is still a competitive DPS. Penelope is adorable. Just if you want adorable in that slot. When should I start going for patrons after I finished all the campaigns? I feel like you need a decent amount of power, so you should probably finish the base storylines in Sword Coast, Tomb, and Waterdeep, and potentially even Avernus. Or at least to be a chunk away through Avernus before you really need to dive into Mert and Vajra stuff. Because you're going to need the favor that comes with having completed those adventures. Just the base adventures, not the variants. But you're also going to have to then go back and do a bunch of the variants, because patrons function off of variants. Off of completed regular variants in campaigns. You're going back and doing, patron versions of those variants. So having a lot of power is what I want you to have before you start going into patron stuff. But it's up to you. Is extra health better than more overwhelmed stacks for tanking when choosing feats? It just depends. Depends on what's killing you. Are you dying because you're past your overwhelm and the damage and the increased damage ramp is what's causing you to fall? Or are you not even close to your overwhelm point yet and dying because you just don't have enough health, right? These are two different features. So you have to think about which is the reason you're actually dying. What was the last new tank introduced? Oh, Lazaps? I just threw that out off the top of my head. I don't know if that's right. Lazaps? Chat? What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything? I'm going with Lazaps. Yeah, that looks right. Someone's saying Nova. Oh, it could have been Nova. It's either Lazaps or Nova. No. One of those. That's not something I keep in my brain. I think that's more of a problem. DPS things. I think pure DPSs are more of a problem because of the best option mentality. Well, but that's what the game is about, right? The game is about finding the best options for things. And if there is just one if there's one ring to rule them all, then, you know, then that makes all other DPS useless. Where that's not necessarily the case with lots of supports and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, Jay's saying Nova was before Lazaps, so I think it's Lazaps. Yeah, I think it's Lazaps too. Anyone know why Havilar's imp buff seems to be different sometimes? Dembo gives leadership boost versus extra credit for kills. Are you looking at the right imp? Where am I? Havilar. Havilar summons different imps based off her ult. So, depending on where you hit her ult, it's going to change things. Like on here's summon imps. I've got Mott and Dembo out, right? And this is Leadership Summit, and then there's also bonuses under Fiendish Resolve. So I watch what happens with each different setup and look at and see. But Mott is the one that's always going to be out, and their buffs are going to be static, but it will change between Leadership Summit and Fiendish Resolve. They do two different things. But then the second imp is going to change and rotate as you blow them up. A new one comes in. Is there any way to get epics for event champions outside of time gates and events? Yeah, patrons. Patron chests drop epics for any champion that qualifies for them as a patron. Yeah. And that's it, folks. I think that's all. That's all the time we have for this week. I like pure DPS for the challenges that require no support. Well, yeah, but that's an artificial thing, right? That's an artificial thing that they put in. And honestly, the no support challenge is the worst challenge there. That's basically just the click damage challenge, because you're always going to get as far as you can get with click damage effectively with your DPS champions, because a pure DPS champions is providing no buffs. So in that situation, again, only your highest DPS champion matters. So I think they can just, to me, I feel like you can just do away with pure DPS champions and just create, you know, a more balanced system. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, that's all for this week. Lots of stuff going on next week, folks. They will post the full schedule for next week's streams, including the day of streaming, on Monday. Stay tuned to their socials and the Discord and the subreddit for more teasers of what's coming. But next week's a big week with all the stuff that's coming. Expect things to not be the smoothest in game on Wednesday. While I would love for everything to go perfectly and to have a flawless launch for them, bugs happen. So instead of being like, oh my God, everything's broken on Wednesday, just be like, hey, I'm having this issue in the appropriate bug channel in the Discord, which means setting up your role for your platform, which you can do in the Discord. That's what makes the bugs show up. But yeah, and be patient. Watch streams. It's going to be a fun day. We are going to go out on a song. This is the original version of You Could Be My Dragon Queen. The fully produced version is going to be on Bardic Inspiration Volume 1, which comes out on Wednesday. I'm going to cough again. Hold on. Man, I need cough drops. Yeah. Yeah. I feel somehow responsible for this song happening because a week before this specific bardic inspiration with Tiamat as the topic, I had told everybody I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I love Taylor Swift's music. And in my chat that day before we rated bardic inspiration, someone was like, "Hey, do you think they'll make the Tiamat song in the style of Taylor Swift?" So the first thing I did when I got in the chat was, it said, "Hey, my chat thinks we should make the Tiamat song in the style of Taylor Swift." And Dylan groaned and Jason said, "Yeah, let's do it." And if you go back and watch that episode, for like the first 10, 15 minutes, I think Dylan thought Jason was joking. I think he hoped he was joking. And then it finally settled in. Oh no, we're making a pop song, a pop love song for Tiamat. So here it is, folks. I'm so happy this song exists. Enjoy, and I will see you next week.
When I look into your tan-bright eyes, I feel a change inside I can't explain. Oh crap, hold on, we're gonna start over. Because I don't know why we did your long. It's throwing me off each time. But now I know what to do. I just have to do that beforehand. All right, I'm starting over. Sorry, everyone. False alarm. We're really going to start the song now. When I look into your tan bright eyes, I feel a change inside I can't explain. Your long red wings become my everything as I feel